The Cheetah is coming home. Tyreek Hill, released by the Miami Dolphins, recovering from a torn ACL and now a free agent, has set his sights back on Kansas City, and the Chiefs appear ready to welcome him. So let's break down how this reunion between Hill and Patrick Mahomes went from wild internet speculation to the most talked about storyline of the 2026 NFL offseason. On March 23, 2022, the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for a 2022 first-round pick, a 2022 second-round pick, 2 fourth-round picks, and a 2023 sixth-round pick. It was a haul of draft capital that made the trade defensible on paper, but what it took away from the field was something no combination of draft picks could replicate. During his time in Kansas City, Tyreek Hill had 479 catches for 6,630 yards and scored 67 touchdowns in 91 games for the Chiefs. With Patrick Mahomes specifically, Hill had 331 catches for 4,638 yards and 46 touchdowns in 58 games. Those numbers weren't just statistics on a spreadsheet, they were the backbone of the most explosive offense in football. The connection started the moment Mahomes took the reins as the starter. In Week 1 of the 2018 season against the Los Angeles Chargers, Mahomes found Hill 7 times for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. That included a 58-yard touchdown pass, Mahomes' first career touchdown throw. From that moment, the league had a problem it didn't know how to solve. Hill earned a Pro Bowl selection in each of his first 6 seasons in Kansas City. He was a 5-time All-Pro and a key part of the Chiefs' first Super Bowl team with Mahomes under center. In Super Bowl Live against the San Francisco 49ers, Hill caught 9 passes for 105 yards, including a 44-yard catch on 3rd and 15 in the fourth quarter. That sparked the Chiefs' comeback from a 10-20 deficit en route to a 31-20 victory. That play, that single reception, changed the trajectory of the entire game and cemented Hill's reputation as a big-moment player. But money talks. After the 2021 season, Hill wanted to be the highest-paid receiver in the league. The Chiefs, managing a roster built around Mahomes and Travis Kelce, decided they couldn't meet his asking price. After the trade was completed, Hill signed a 4-year, $120 million extension with the Dolphins, including $72.2 million guaranteed, making him the highest-paid wide receiver in the NFL. And here's what happened to the Kansas City offense after he left. Since Hill was traded to the Dolphins, the Chiefs' offense hasn't been as explosive as it was in the past. In fact, Kansas City has not had a 1,000-yard receiver since 2021, and that player was Hill. Not one, not Rashee Rice, not Xavier Worthy, not Hollywood Brown, nobody. The Chiefs still won. They leaned on their defense and Mahomes' improvisation and captured back-to-back Super Bowls in the 2022 and 2023 seasons. But they were winning games because of their defense, not because of their offense. And by 2025, the cracks had become canyons. The Chiefs watched their passing attack sputter last season as they missed the playoffs for the first time in more than a decade. With a weakness in their deep game, Kansas City finished 6-11, their first losing season with Mahomes under center. Kansas City averaged 6.8 yards per pass attempt in 2025, tied for 21st in the NFL. Tyreek Hill had left a void, and 4 years later, the Chiefs still hadn't filled it. Over in Miami, things were unraveling for Hill in an entirely different way. His first year with the Dolphins was spectacular. 119 catches for 1,710 yards in 2022. His second year was historic. He led the entire NFL with 1,799 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns in 2023. But the Dolphins never advanced deep into the playoffs, and Hill's frustration with losing started to boil over. By the end of the 2024 season, things reached a breaking point. Just minutes after a loss to the New York Jets, Hill indicated to reporters that he was done in Miami. His words were blunt. "I'm out, bro. It was great playing here, but at the end of the day, I gotta do what's best for my career because I'm too much of a competitor to be just out there." He even changed his ex-profile picture to a photo of his face on Antonio Brown's body. The image of Brown stripping off his jersey and walking away from the NFL at MetLife Stadium. The message was clear, but Hill didn't leave Miami. He stayed for the 2025 season, and that season lasted exactly 4 games. Hill suffered a season-ending knee injury in Week 4, tearing his ACL and dislocating his knee, which required surgery, and sidelined him for the remainder of the year. The most electric player in football was carted off the field, and onto the injured reserve. He finished the season with 21 receptions for 265 yards and 1 touchdown. For a player who had paced the entire league in receiving yards just 2 years earlier, this was devastating. The timing of the injury was particularly cruel. Entering Week 4, Hill had accounted for more than half of the Dolphins' air yards at 53.5%, and his 3 deep receptions of 20 air yards or more almost matched his total from the previous entire season. He was on pace for another monster year, and then it was gone. That injury ultimately factored into the Miami Dolphins' decision to release him in February, a move tied to both cap considerations and uncertainty surrounding his recovery. On February 16, 2026, Hill was released by the Dolphins. The decision from the Dolphins let them save $22.8 million. Within hours of learning about his release, Hill sent a message to the world. He wrote a post on Instagram to guarantee that he will continue his career with the same level of production that made him a star. The Cheetah don't slow down, ever. So to everyone wondering what's next, just wait on it. The Cheetah will be back, born again, born again. In retrospect, those words carried more weight than anyone realized at the time. What happened next moved fast. The same evening Hill was released, Chiefs pass rusher Chris Jones used his X account to send Hill a message that anyone on the social media website could see. He tagged Hill's account and used the alarm clock emoji to indicate that it was indeed time for the receiver to rejoin the Chiefs. Jones had been Hill's teammate in Kansas City for 6 seasons. He didn't use words. The emoji said everything. Jones wasn't the only person who expressed that a reunion for Hill and the Chiefs for the 2026 season would be beneficial to both parties. Former Chiefs safety Tyrann Mathieu, who had played alongside Hill in Kansas City, weighed in on ESPN, saying given the guys that they have on the roster now, he might be the person to sort of lift those guys' play. Mathieu knew Hill's work ethic intimately, adding that Hill never missed practice and never missed games. ESPN analyst Louis Riddick went even further, stating not only do they need him, he needs them. That phrase, mutual need, became the defining framework for why this reunion made so much sense. Then came the social media breadcrumbs from Hill himself, when the Chiefs announced the return of Eric Bieniemy as offensive coordinator, replacing Matt Nagy. Hill posted cryptically on social media, "EB to the Chiefs, Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator during the peak of Hill's career in Kansas City." That post set off a firestorm of speculation. 2 days after being released, Hill used his Snapchat account to show that he was back in Kansas City to visit family members and to continue his rehab. And here's the detail that sent the internet into overdrive. Hill's profile photo showed him in a Chiefs uniform, not a Dolphins jersey, not a generic workout photo, a Kansas City Chiefs uniform. The man was in Kansas City, rehabbing, with a Chiefs photo as his profile picture. The hints were not subtle. Behind the scenes, the financial puzzle was starting to come together too. The Chiefs, as they've done in the past, could offer Hill a 1-year contract with incentives to add a boost to their offense. ESPN pointed to the precedent in 2022 after the Chiefs traded Hill. The team signed veteran receiver Juju Smith-Schuster to a 1-year deal for a maximum of $10.75 million. A similar structure could work for Hill. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes recently restructured his own contract to create more cap space for his team, and Travis Kelce signed a new 3-year, $54.7 million deal. Though the structure functions more like a 1-year commitment, with $12 million guaranteed for 2026. The band was reassembling. Mahomes, Kelce, Bieniemy. The only piece missing was Hill. Every conversation about this reunion comes back to one question: Hill's knee. He suffered a severe dislocation of his left knee in Week 4, leaving him with multiple torn ligaments, including a torn ACL. For a player whose entire identity was built on speed, a player nicknamed Cheetah for being the fastest man on the field, this was the kind of injury that ends careers. The typical return timeline for such injuries is between 9 months and 1 year, which potentially puts Hill on track for Week 1 of the 2026 campaign. But he is also about to turn 32 years old ahead of his 11th NFL season, which could slow down his rehabilitation and impact his ceiling once he gets back on the field. Hill's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, moved to calm fears. He publicly stated that it was a multiple ligament injury, and he absolutely is on track for the start of the regular season. In talking to Tyreek Our focus is on him getting back to 100%. I spoke to his doctors recently. He's on point to be ready for the season." That update was significant. A player with Hill's talent level being projected for a Week 1 return changes the calculus for every team in the league. Chiefs head coach Andy Reid, for his part, was characteristically measured when asked about Hill. "Listen, we go through everything and everybody. That's how Brett Veach does," Reid said in February, referring to Kansas City's GM. "I don't even know if Tyreek is healthy right now to do anything. There's nothing happening there." Classic Andy Reid, giving nothing away, revealing nothing, keeping every card close to his chest. But despite those comments, the rumors refused to go away. ESPN's Nate Taylor reported that while it's uncertain if Hill will be available for the season opener, the Chiefs are expected to monitor the progress of his recovery and training, according to league sources. Monitoring is not a commitment, but monitoring in this context is interest, and interest when it comes from the one team Hill has the deepest connection to is telling. USA Today's Jack McKessie reported that Hill would have a long and complicated recovery ahead, one that will include 5 distinct phases leading up to his return to the field. Some analysts doubted whether he'd be ready by September, but the general consensus grew increasingly optimistic. The timetable suggests he should be able to play most of the 2026 season, even if he isn't at full throttle by Week 1. And then there were the lifestyle signals. Hill reportedly listed his $7.7 million Florida mansion for sale. He's selling his home in South Florida. He's rehabbing in Kansas City. He's posting Chiefs-themed profile pictures. These are not the actions of a man who is keeping his options open. These are the actions of a man who has made up his mind. So where does this leave us? Let's lay out the landscape. On one side, the Kansas City Chiefs are coming off their worst season in the Mahomes era, a disappointing 6-11 campaign where they missed the playoffs for the first time in more than a decade. Their offensive weaponry is thin. Entering the offseason, the Chiefs had just 5 receivers on their roster: Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Royals, Jason Brownlee, and Jimmy Holiday. Rice faces potential suspension due to legal trouble. Worthy is still developing. The rest are unproven. The Chiefs not only have needs at wide receiver, but need a complete makeover at running back. They addressed the backfield by signing Kenneth Walker III, but the receiver room remains a glaring hole. On the other side, Tyreek Hill is 32 years old, coming off the worst injury of his career and unsigned. In the 12 days since the Dolphins released him, no other team emerged as a serious suitor to sign him. During 4 days at the scouting combine, no one said anything to suggest that a pursuit of Hill was happening or looming. The market has been quiet. The Chiefs are the current betting favorites at +150 on DraftKings. Other teams, the Bills, Ravens, Chargers, Bears, are in the conversation, but at much longer odds. The Athletic's Saad Yousuf put it plainly, writing that the Chiefs make the most sense for Hill after his exit from Miami. Yousuf added that tight end Travis Kelce has already decided to come back for one more season, so adding Hill could make sense. Travis Kelce is running it back for another season, so why not get the old band back together and see if they can rekindle some old magic? Yousuf described it as a low-risk, high-reward signing, noting that Kansas City has little to lose by bringing Hill back and plenty to gain. If Hill can regain a reasonable amount of his explosiveness following the injury, it could be worth it for the Chiefs to bring the original band back together on offense for a year or two and take another Super Bowl shot. He wouldn't need to be the undisputed #1 option he once was. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are already in place on the depth chart, and they could add another receiving talent in the draft. Hill could provide the deep threat. Rice could be the volume wideout, and Xavier Worthy could be the gadget and slot receiver. Add in Kelce underneath, and suddenly Patrick Mahomes has an arsenal that looks like 2019 all over again. And it's not just about talent. Hill already has the built-in rapport with Mahomes from their previous time together, and could simply be a high-end cog in the machine rather than the clear-cut #1 he once was. He knows the system. He knows Bieniemy. He knows Reid. He knows Arrowhead. If Hill is able to play at any point during the 2026 season, bringing him back into the fold makes a ton of sense, as he should come affordable and he knows the offensive system. Hill's career numbers tell the story of a generational talent. 819 receptions for 11,363 receiving yards and 83 touchdowns across his career. He was selected to the Pro Bowl in each of his first 8 seasons in the league. Won Super Bowl LIV with the Chiefs, and was named to the NFL 2010's All-Decade Team. He is one of only a handful of players in NFL history to score a touchdown of 50-plus yards in 5 different ways. Speed like his doesn't just disappear overnight, even after a knee injury. And the Chiefs, a franchise that desperately needs to restore its explosive identity, know this. If both parties can agree to a deal, whether later in the offseason or early in the season, Hill would be reunited with Mahomes, coach Andy Reid, and potentially tight end Travis Kelce. The money can work. The scheme fits. The relationships are already there. The mutual need is undeniable. The only remaining variable is Hill's knee, and every update has pointed in the right direction. Former wide receiver TJ Houshmandzadeh captured the sentiment best when he told Fox Sports, "Tyreek goes back to the Chiefs, where Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid really know how to use you. And they need you, or it may be over for the Chiefs." The Cheetah left Kansas City chasing a $120 million contract. He found the money, led the league in receiving, and made the Pro Bowl in Miami. But he never made it back to the big stage. He never came close to what he had with Mahomes. Now older, humbled by injury, driven by the one thing money can't buy. He's coming back to the place where it all started. Mahomes, Kelce, Bieniemy, and now, potentially, Hill. One more ride together. One more shot at a championship. If there's any juice left in the Cheetah's legs, Kansas City is where he'll find out.